Team number 2 spawning in the bottom right position as the red Terran player. He took game number 1. He was down 100 supply and somehow still won anyway because Terran, it is Complexities the STC. And this just feels slightly off center, so I gotta fix that for my OCD. But we're good. And spawning in the bottom left position as our blue Zerg player from Root Gaming. I love that they have these logos here. So cool. It is our blue Zerg, Kane. And, yeah. So this is definitely one of the more interesting maps. Turn that music back on, a few lovely peoples. But TvZ on Whirlwind is going to be a little bit more of a favorable map for Kane. The natural expansion on Mammoth was a little bit stretched out. In fact, the whole map itself is a bit stretched out. There's a lot of choke points, so this should definitely favor Kane a little bit more in the Zerg versus Terran matchup. STC has already shown that even if he is crazy behind, he can still win anyway because, well, he is a Korean Terran player. He is very, very good. And he is someone that should most certainly be feared. Now, as far as the other stuff goes for Ritmix, RSL, gNations, I just wanted to throw you guys a little bit more of information in case you don't know too much about the tournament. To start things off, we are basically doing somewhat of a round-robin type setup, double elimination, best of 7 until the grand finals, which will be a best of 9. And these are all kill style matches. So, very, very standard play. Very, very standard. So, SEC now getting his barracks and command center first build. Very, very standard in Terran versus Zerg. So, other information about the tournament, we do have as our map pool, we have 5 brand new maps that we'll probably only see at the start of every match since most players aren't familiar with them. These include but are not limited to, goodness gracious, a very fast double hatch before pool with gas too. Very greedy play by Kane. But these include but are not limited to that Mammoth map that we just played on. We had Fruitland, which was actually really sick. If you guys check the VODs for that. Daishi versus Lowly, that was actually a really fun game to cast as well. And we also have 3 other ones we haven't gone to yet. Blood Mist Refuge, Crux Frost, and Guillotine. Guillotine just sounds like it's probably a sick map just by the name. STC now getting his orbital commands up. But aside from that, other information about the teams that are playing today, you're watching North America versus Korea. On the North American side of things, we do have over here, it's our Kane player, of course, from Root Gaming. But we also have available Scarlet, from Team Acer. We just had Ghost User out for Millennium. We also have Root Minigun and Root Cats as our captain/coach. And of course, how could I almost forget, we have Dragon Obsing. A little bit of lag here. How could I forget, of course, that we also have Complexities QXC here. So a little bit of lag. Dragon is probably, shouldn't say, but spawning pool is about to wrap up here for Kane. Kind of anticipating that the STC would go for command center first. Dragon, sorry. He is, of course, on the Korean roster. So we definitely have a bit of variety in our lineup here, guys. Dragon, Hyun, the STC, of course, that you saw. Hyun is the captain, by the way. And we also have Sage and Yu-Gi-Oh! So a lot of Root players participating in this, but that's also because Root players are all over the world. Basically. Factory finishing up for the STC. Reactor is coming in as well. Now, Kane, he's gone for a very greedy opening, and the build that the STC is doing isn't really going to punish it that badly. He is playing a very, very standard way. Going for an armory, so he's going to go for Hellbat drops. By the time that the Hellbat drops come to fruition, he should have a nice setup already to deal with this. There's the medevac coming in. the starport coming in. He has the first 2 Hellions to scout going, and this barracks with the reactor. So it's going to start a second reactor so that he can get a lot of medevacs out. Zergling speed will be complete pretty damn soon for Kane, and it's all going to come down to scouting and preparation versus this. There's that reactor for the starport, but he's going to need a little bit of a solid setup. Hellbat drops are probably among the most difficult things to deal with right now in StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. just how fast they can kill workers. Of course, good queen control can help with dealing with the medevac part, but you're also going to need spine crawlers, spore crawlers, and some players like to go for roaches to help deal with this as well. But Hellbats are pretty good dropped on top of anything, so we'll have to see just how well our Zerg player is going to deal with them. Now, Kane, STC is poking around. He knows about this third base. He's like, oh my goodness gracious. I like how his vision of this creep, but I feel like that's just like a weird thing on the game part overlay. But of course, there are sick logos on the map as well. Viking coming out as well. That's interesting. Going to use it to poke away Overlords so that the Hellbat drop isn't as easy to scout. And I really like this play. A lot of players will be like, yeah, I'm Hellbat dropping. You deal with it. But STC wants to be like, no, I'm going to make a Viking, kill you, and then try to just run in there and do as much damage as possible with the standard Hellion Harass as well. So I really do like this play. Now, Kane is going to have an Overlord come over here and possibly scout this out. The Marines, there's only 2 of them. They are in that bunker. We have the first medevac going. The Viking's going to come in to help shove the Overlords away. But Kane, he's continuing to drone up. He has not really produced much else than those drones. He has a good number of Zerglings, but these are not going to work at all versus Hellbats. It's pretty much like, you know, it's not very effective or something like that. And now the Overlord's going to scout the 3rd command center from the STC, so he knows that his follow-up is going to be pretty economic. He's looking towards the late game, and now the drop is headed in towards the main base. He's going to drop those Hellbats on those drones. Kane's got to be careful. STC is getting right on top of that worker line. The Hellions are running into the natural at the same time to help put on some additional pressure. The lair is being scouted as well by STC, so he's got a good amount of information available to him. And now we have a bit of multiple prong pressure with those Hellbats in the natural and the... Well, that's actually going to get shut down, so he is going to be able to sustain himself for now. But Kane, he's got to be careful in dealing with these Hellbats. If STC drops them into a choke point, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. The medevac's going to have to boost away, and Kane should be able to deal with these Hellbats pretty reasonably well. He's going to lose a good chunk of his Zerglings, but it could have been a lot worse. STC still has a couple of Hellions on the field, and he's going to go mech out of this, which is very interesting. Something we almost never see out of Terran players. Usually you only go mech if you do a lot of damage, but the total workers killed is 9. And considering that Kane did go double hatchery before spawning pool, it's not quite as big of a deal. Hellbat drop is going to head in towards this 3rd base, but there's already Spores and Spines really picking away that medevac's at less than half. It's actually exactly half health. So it's not going to be too good of a position to actually keep going, but Overlords continue to get sniped off by this Viking. And STC is going to go for another drop in the main base. There are 2 queens here. I'd like to see him just drop on top of the queens and try to kill them with the Hellbats, but we will have to see what he's going to do. He's bringing the Hellbats in, and there he is going to go right on top of those queens. Let those Hellbats do their dirty work on these queens, and that's also going to shut them up production because this hatchery has not been injected. The natural hatchery has not been injected, limiting the larva production of the Zerg player is one of the most important things you can do. And SEC dropping in the natural at the same time as well. These Hellbats just getting in lots of damage. Now he's killed a good number of drones. 14 shut down. Very nice play. He's going to take out this spine crawler with these Hellbats as well before it can complete. And SEC is looking so good right now. The supply is 66 to 93, and tank production is rolling along. He is getting out more Hellbats. I'd like to see more medevacs to supplement this army, but STC has just done so much damage thus far. He's still in the natural expansion. He sees the Spire with his Hellbats. He might even try to kill that, but these Hellbats are going to get on top of these Zerglings, and SEC is actually going to be able to kill most of them off. So really nice play here from our Korean Terran player coming in for the Korean team. So this is a rough spot to be in. This is not a position that anyone really wants to be in. Siege tanks are prepared at the natural expansion, and Thor production is now beginning for the STC. Right now at 110 is supply to 74. This is one of those situations where Kane needs something drastic to come back. The fact that there are still medevacs being produced, there is still a threat of the drop play. This 3 kills is about to get a 4th Overlord. These are things that Kane can't really afford to replace right now. He's going to get supply blocked for a tiny bit. There are Mutalisks coming out, but with the Thor production going along, there's already 4 command centers on the field for the STC. He's got missile turrets. He is looking so good right now, and there's not even a chance of there being swarm hosts on the field, which is arguably the counter to mech. But Zergling run by headed across the field now for Kane. He wants to run in and see if there's any open doors to run through, but our complexity logoed door says nope. Thor's going to be able to get in here and try to pick these lings off, so they are going to get some damage to this worker line. That's a nice touch there from the STs, from Kane, being able to pick those off. He's going to try to do a bit of a Mutalisk run by to that east base, but there are missile turrets here. Might be able to pick this one off before it can complete, but STC has the Thors out on the field now. A little bit of a supply block, not huge deal at this point considering how far ahead he is, but I love this. Using the medevac to get the Thor over there even faster to deal with this Mutalisk. It's a very, very nice touch from the STC. Of course, the medevac boost is good for many, many things. And I definitely say good one of them is that, but boost. But now he's coming in here with the Hellbat drop in the natural expansion again, picking off a few more drones. Not actually, yeah, he's only going to get, I think, one. He's only got like 1 or 2 drones so far with that drop, so shut down pretty well. But STC is looking so strong. I'm just, the only thing that I'm really wondering right now is when is he going to push? When does he go for the killing blow? When does he try to take out this Zerg player? STC, he just has so much economy set up. He's getting a 5th command center because why not? And yeah, SCV's a little bit accidentally rallied out, it seems, going over towards the opponent's side of the field now. We do have the Hellbats approaching for the STC, the siege tanks as well, and this is going to be a bit of a difficult position for Kane dealing with this. The Roaches, you know, there's so many Thors here with that +1 attack, that +2 attack about to complete, and the Hellbats deal a lot better with Roaches than Hellions did in Wings of Liberty. So scanning, killing the creep. He is moving across our RSL gNations logo as he presses towards Kane's base, but he doesn't want to push in just yet. He wants to make sure that he maxes. He's going to pick up another drop and go for another Hellbat drop. And that's not, honestly, a bad idea at all. He just wants to make sure he's 100% maxed out and definitely going to win the game with his next push before he does anything. And with more Thors, more Hellbats, more tanks out, he is looking like he is ready to go and try to bring some pain. There's a good number of Roaches on the field for Kane, but the problem is there's just not enough to beat this army. STC has so many Hellbats, so many tanks, so many Thors. He's had 190 supply to 144, and with Roaches, you know, the whole idea is that you can get a lot of supply very cheaply. So the fact that he doesn't have enough Roaches to kill this off, or at least trade evenly, is definitely a big hindrance to him. Vipers are coming out though, and this could be a big opportunity for Kane as these Hellbats begin to ravage the main base once again. Picking up even more drones. He hasn't gotten too many just yet, but that Spinecrawler is going to have some trouble, and now STC is going to push in towards this base. He has the Thors behind, and he's going to keep them available. These Roaches, though, they are moving in. There's quite a few of them, but the Vipers are not going to be out in time to use Blinding Cloud on these siege tanks, which is exactly what Kane needs to actually hold these off. And the Hellbats are getting on top of the drones. He is going to be having a Korean barbecue here. Oh, this one's actually just, he's just twerking. But now going to really get to work on those drones. The Roaches trying to hold here. Is this going to be enough, though? There are so many tanks in the back to cover all of this, and the Thors just do not look like they are going to be able to kill all of the Roaches on their own. But with his tank support, oh, the Vipers are coming in. He can use the Abduct to pull the Thors into the Roaches. Blinding Cloud on those siege tanks, and the Roaches are going to be able to clean up a large portion of this mech army. But still a supply lead for the STC, and this is where the Vipers become the reason why no one does this anymore. But there, the GG anyway.